And so as you notice, you do not have bulletins in your hands today. So I am going to read to you our mission statement, and if you know it, I invite you to join me along in saying it. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's what we are up to here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity through the music, through the readings, through the talk, through what we do here, to reawaken to our divine nature, to understand, comprehend, and feel and sense that that divine presence lives in us. That one presence that expresses itself in and through all of creation. It's so easy to see in nature, in the trees growing and in the flowers blooming, that same presence that created the stars and the heavens and the planets expresses itself as the fullness of life. And that means then that that presence also exists within us. It expresses within us and through us and as us, and is our own divine essence. We're living these human lives, but that divine essence is always within us, always present, always available. So what happens when we awaken to that truth? Then when we're out in the world and the world is not being loving or kind or generous or caring, we aren't reliant on the world to be that way in order for us to be that way, or in order for us to be okay. We can tap into the peace, the love, the wholeness, the light of spirit that is within us and bring that into the world. And as we do that, we transform conversations and relationships and situations because we are bringing light to it. And because everything is connected to everything else, not only does it affect that person that we're having a conversation with, but it actually ripples out to affect the whole, because everything is connected to everything else. And so I say thank you to every single one of you for walking this path, for bringing your light into the world, and for being a beneficial presence. I thank you all for that. Amen is right. And so, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear. We are Living Beyond Limits, part of a Centers for Spiritual Living, and welcome all of you. I'm so glad you're here today. And if you are new to us today, from the very bottom of our hearts to yours, we welcome you. We're so glad you're joining us today. Well, if you don't know, the winter solstice was about 20 minutes ago. It was at 10:03 this morning, so happy winter solstice, everybody. And Merry Christmas. Christmas is this coming Thursday, as you all know. And happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah started last Friday and ends tomorrow night. And happy Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa starts this coming Friday and goes on for 7 days. It's really fascinating to me that there are so many holidays all at the same time that are celebrating the light of spirit, celebrating the light within humanity. And not just celebrating the light, but also they are all focused on hope. There's an element of hope about each one of those. A reminder in that hope that the road doesn't end here or there whenever the story happened, but that instead there is always something more, there is always something brighter, there is always something greater that can come into form. And so if you're not religious at all, there is also light in that we see lights on houses and lights on trees and sparkly Christmas paper and sparkly clothes and ribbons and bows. All of those sparkly things and the light that we put out there to remind us and reminding us that while we may not be the source of the light, that we can absolutely reflect that light and magnify that light and increase that light through our intentions and through our actions, through what we do. And so I don't know about you, but I really like to understand the symbolism of all the different holidays. And I think that we all like to have them make sense to us, and we like to be able to apply the truth that is within each one of those traditions and holidays, to be able to apply that truth to our own lives and to our own selves. And so today I'm going to talk about those four that I just mentioned: Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah. Did I say that? Christmas, Kwanzaa, and solstice, and the solstice. There you go. Gosh. And so I'm going to begin with Christmas, really just because the majority of us in this room, because of the culture we live in, are most familiar with Christmas. And so Christmas, as you know, is celebrating the birth of Jesus for Christians, celebrating the birth of the Christ. He was called the Christed One. He was called the light of the world and the bringer of light. And so Christians are celebrating his birth, and we are celebrating Christ consciousness in the world. Parker Palmer said, in 1930, speaking to a white writer about the stories by which his people lived, a Sioux medicine man, Black Elk, told the tale of the sacred pipe, which recounts the way a mystical vision saved the Sioux from starvation and reconnected them with the sacred. When he finished the tale, he paused and said, "Whether it happened that way, I do not know. But if you think about it, you will see that it is true." For me, this is Parker Palmer, for me, Black Elk's words apply to the Christmas story. While there is sound historical evidence for the existence of Jesus of Nazareth, such evidence does not exist for the narrative of his birth. And yet, the story tells a truth. It's one among many ancient stories heralding the improbable truth that the darkness will yield to the light, that love will overcome cruelty, that there is a power in open-hearted vulnerability that can defeat a king's armies. If none of that were true, the human experiment would have ended in darkness and death long ago. And so all of those holidays and traditions have a capital T truth, some truth in them. The truth that the darkness overcomes the light. The truth that the darkness yields to the light. I'm so sorry, thank you very much. The darkness yields to the light. That love overcomes that which is unlike it. And that the power of an open heart and of vulnerability can defeat a king's army. And I think we all need that message today. And so as metaphysicians, we see Jesus, the Christed One, as what happened at a moment of humanity's awakening to Christ consciousness. Humanity's awakening to the light of God that lives within each and every single one of us, that expresses in us and as us. Jesus the Christ was not, in our perspective, the great exception. He was the great example. He was the way shower. He was fully awake to the fact that Spirit lived in him and he lived in Spirit, that they were inseparably one, no distinction, no apartness. He was awake to that fact. There was no place where Jesus the man left off and the presence of God began. They were one and the same. And so Christmas represents an awakening in consciousness, an awakening of Christ consciousness within humanity. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said, "Christ is not a person, but a principle. Christ is God's idea of itself. Christ in us is that within us that is awake to the fact that God in us is who we are at our very core. Rocco Errico, who is one of the nation's leading biblical scholars, who actually studies and works with the original Aramaic texts, which was the language that Jesus spoke. Rocco Errico said, Jesus, the Christed one, came to awaken every human heart's potential and capacity to manifest the rich spiritual dimension of heaven on earth. The purpose of Christ in us, then, is not only for self-realization, but for the manifestation of the kingdom of heaven wherever we are. And so Christmas is a time of hope. It is a hope that reminds us that there is always a potential that is seeking to be born, that there is always a light and a newness that can come into the world, even in the darkest of times. The light is always present, and it awaits an opening so that it can come into this world in full expression. And today is the winter solstice. And so in ancient times, during the winter solstice, the pagans lit candles and had bonfires. They burned the Yule log, and they sang and danced around the fire, all as a way to chase away the darkness, all as a way to reawaken the sun from its long night's sleep. The winter solstice reminds us today that there is always hope, because this material world is always changing and always in flux and is never static and never the same. It reminds us that things are constantly changing and not fixed, and that even after the darkest periods of light, there is always a chance for new beginnings, for new light. Even when things seem bleak, change is possible. The light will return. Winter solstice depicts renewal and new birth and return of the light. Winter solstice announces winter is not forever. And so will you say that with me? Winter is not forever. Let's say it again. Winter is not forever. And Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is also an expression of hope. It honors our resilience. It encourages people to be self-determining, not to let other people tell you who you are and create your life and tell you what to do in your life, but to be self-determining about your own life. It encourages us to be self-determining and to think about how it is that we can shape this world through our hope and through our positive contributions. Kwanzaa encourages us also to use whatever it is that we've experienced in the past, to learn from that, to use those things as lessons, and then to create the future that we want to create with that newfound knowledge, with the healing that has occurred, with the shifts in perception, to use what has been to create the world we want to live in. And lastly, Hanukkah. Hanukkah is called the Festival of the Lights. As you all know, the miracle that happened was the 1 day's worth of oil burned for 8 days in the newly sanctified temple in Jerusalem. The miracle was that that oil should have only lasted for a day, but it lasted for 8 in that menorah, representing again to us that even in the darkest times, the light will shine through. That we are reminded to stay open when things are challenging, to the new, to the unexpected, to the blessings, to that which is greater than what we can imagine. It's a reminder to look for the light. And so there's a story I'd like to share with you. In a small mountain village, everyone kept a lantern glowing in the window at night. Their winding cliffside roads were treacherous in the dark, and the lanterns acted like a comforting thread guiding travelers safely home. During one harsh winter, families began to save oil. One lantern won't matter, each household reasoned. Everyone else's light will be enough. One night, a traveler navigated the icy road just as a snowstorm descended. Expecting the familiar glow, he found himself instead in stretches of darkness where lanterns once shone. He nearly missed a sharp turn that would have sent him over the cliff. But one lantern, still faithfully burning, revealed the path just in time. The next day, when the villagers heard about the near tragedy, they refilled their lanterns. The people in our lives aren't guided by our occasional brilliance, but by our steady light. I think we are being called to be carriers of the light. We are called to be revealers of the light. And not just during this holiday season, but every single day. So my invitation to you this week is to know that the holidays are a reminder to show you that the darkness does not win out. That instead, light and goodness and love win. To remember that every single moment in our lives and in this world hold an opportunity for something new, for something good, for something that is full of hope, for something that is glorious. And know that the light is ever present, awaiting your opening to it. So uncover the light in you and shine that light into the world. And I'm going to close with a quote by Ernest Holmes. To feel that we are part of the divine offering is to enter into the spirit of Christmas. I'm going to say it again. To feel that we are part of the divine offering is to enter into the spirit of Christmas. And so as we begin our candle lighting ceremony today, I invite you to join me in consciousness. Consciousness of the light, consciousness that Christ consciousness is expressing itself within humanity, within all traditions who have an open heart to be illuminated by Spirit. So we welcome the light. We welcome its expression in us and through us, in humanity, in our lives, and in this world. I am the all from which all proceeds. With your mind and understanding firmly fixed upon me, you shall come to me. By whatever path you seek me, you will find me. We respect and honor our sisters and brothers walking all spiritual paths. True spirit lies beyond the realm of the visible. In each, there is a spark, able to kindle new fires of peace and light and love. Today, we are reminded that within each of us resides the Christ, the Buddha, Atman, the presence. We were born to be conscious, to know that our true nature is that of the divine within us, our perfect, whole self, which today we recognize in all life. We are one in spirit, one in the light. We celebrate our rich diversity and our one heart. For when we are home in the presence of Spirit, we are then home in our lives, home with each other, and home in our world. So in this open-heartedness, we open our hearts and our minds to the truth that Spirit is always right where we are. All that Spirit is, all of the love, all of the goodness, all of the power, the presence, the peace, the light, the creativity and wisdom is always right here where we are. For as the Jesus the Christ spoke, the Father and I are one. There is no place where we begin or end and God begins or ends, for we are in this presence, and this presence is in us. And so today, as we open our hearts and minds, I know that we open ourselves to the inner guidance, leading us and guiding us into a world where we bring our light and shine it so brightly that it acts as a healing agent, bringing love and peace, unity, understanding, calmness, and order. That we bring our heart and we bring our light everywhere we go. And so I speak this word about not just us in this room, but every person on this planet, knowing also that the Spirit of the living God lives within them. And that right now it is revealing itself in the hearts and minds of each person as the exact thing that they need, leading them, guiding them, pouring itself out as a blessing and fulfilling every need. I know that this presence is in every home, in every place of business, in every heart, leading and guiding. And I speak this word also for our world leaders, for politicians and decision makers, for leaders of every kind, knowing that they are being led from on high, creating a world that works for humanity. For in truth, we are one family, brotherhood, sisterhood, undivided unity. And Spirit's intention is for us all to thrive and flourish and bring our greatness to this world. And so I know anything that has been blocking this full expression right now is dissipated in this light. For Spirit is the ultimate and only power. And so we recognize this today, and in our recognition, we create an opening for it to pour into this world. And so I claim peace, I claim understanding, I claim unity and harmony and love. And so I release this prayer into that creative law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself all around us. And so we look to that light, and we hold to that light. Hold to the hope that all of these traditions and celebrations reveal. The hope and the light. We place our faith right there in the infinite power of Spirit. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I have a couple of invitations for you. One is we are having a holiday party today after service. It's going to be at Chris Braunschweiger and Peggy Toole's house. If you would like to come, you're invited. If you do not know the address, will someone raise their hand that can give people the address? Okay, Rebecca, there's 3 people over here that can give you the address. If you do not know where it is, we'd love to have you. We're having a potluck and Christmas music and games and just going to have some fun. Next week, we are doing a New Year's ritual and setting intentions for the year and doing that kind of thing, letting go of the old and bringing in the new. So we invite you to come back next week and play with us doing that. On Wednesday, December 31st at 4 a.m., we are having a World Peace Meditation service. We are joining people across the planet all at the same time. That's why we're doing it at 4 a.m. It's noon Greenwich Mean Time. Joining people in consciousness, praying about peace, meditating on peace, envisioning peace, being the energy of peace. It's on Zoom. I will be posted on our website, and I will send out an email, because you don't have inserts today, that has the Zoom link on it. And our Sunday talks are available on our website and on our YouTube channel, and we invite you to check in on Meetup and say that you're coming, and to like us on Facebook, because that's how it gets out there, it gets multiplied, and to follow us on Instagram. And we have prayer support after service. If you would like a practitioner to sit down and pray with you, will you raise your hand if you're a practitioner in this room? Happy to sit and do prayer. We have a Ministry of Prayer box. You can fill out a prayer request and put it in the box. We will support you during the week in prayer. We have prayer shawls that have been created in that energy of prayer. The practitioners will pray over it for your specific desired outcome, and then you can take that with you if you want to gift yourself or somebody else with a prayer shawl. And that's it for those invitations. And so I invite you to repeat after me. Good fills my life now. I recognize it. I savor it. I love it. And I live it. And so it is.